business here. So, welcome to Unit 2. We are going to be dealing with, in this unit, some more things with equations, but also we're going to be dealing with a few more things with applications as well. So, first things first, get your date by our notes because, as I've mentioned, there's going to be videos up with this, or if you miss some time, you're going to have all these different things to be able to help you find what you need. So, date for sure. And we're going to be solving these proportion things, these equations that look like they have fractions on both sides, by cross multiplying. Now, if it helps you when I say that, to have colors to be like, oh, so when he says cross, I don't mean straight across. I mean like you're making an X. And so what we do is we multiply 10 times X. Okay. 8 times 5. Calculator's perfectly fine there if you're not sure. And most of the time, you're going to end up with a one-step equation to deal with. So like we've mentioned before, we'll make note of it here one more time. When you're thinking about opposites, add and subtract are opposites. Multiply and divide are opposites. That's how you can undo something as you're working. So, I look at this. I'm multiplying x by 10. So I need to do the opposite and divide to get it out of there. And just like that, I'm done. So a cross multiply, a quick divide, add, subtract, something like that, and you're done. So, I'm actually going to get brave here right off the bat. I'm going to freeze for problem number 2. So for number 2, try to use number 1 as your example. For those of you watching later online, yes, you're still seeing me writing. If you're watching later, you could freeze or pause me. That's the nice thing about videos later. You can mute the teacher, rewind the teacher, whatever you need to do. And I will tell you in advance, you are not going to get a whole number out for an answer. So you're not concerned about that. So people here in class, give you a few more seconds to try that out and get that divided in. Whether you keep it as a fraction or a decimal, I don't care. At this point, you can do either. And here comes the countdown in 3, 2, 1. Do our cross multiplying. 7x equals 225. That does not come out nicely, so you can leave it as a fraction. Or you can go ahead and use the decimal that you get on your calculator and work it that way. So, now number 3 looks weird. You're like, wait a minute, that's not even a proportion. There's not fractions on both sides. So, there's a couple of ways we can handle this, but here's what my suggestion would be. I like to make, if there's not a fraction on the other side, I make it 1. I put it over 1 because then I can still do my cross multiplying. Now I'm going to do something that some of you may find a little odd, but let me explain what my thought process is. You're like, Hardy, it's 1. If it's 1, why are you bothering putting it there with parentheses? Because if you do that, Then you're going to have to distribute the 1. This kind of seems counterproductive when you could have just written x plus 3. There's going to get to be a point coming up here that there will be a number there that we have to distribute. I'm trying to get you to start thinking about that right away. So here's my question for you. How am I going to get the plus 3 out of there? Subtract the 3. And watch your signs. Double check on a calculator if need be. If I owe my friend $12 and I borrow 3 more, now I owe 15. Okay? Negative times negative is positive, but not negative plus negative. That just makes it more negative. So, simple again. Do the cross, and then solve the 1-step, or in this case, since we distributed 2-step equation. We're done. And that's also going to be true when we get into the applications. Now, don't think, oh my gosh, it's words. Nope, just going to skip those. These are not going to be bad. That's why we're going to get you some examples to be looking at, very straightforward here. So, okay, set up as a proportion. Keep the like units together in the numerator and denominator. Okay, let's explain this. Julie bought 5 pairs of socks. So 5 pairs of socks for $12. So we got socks up here, and we got money down here. Now, do I have to do this every time I do one of them? Probably not, but for the examples I would, so you know where the stuff is coming from. Now, at the same rate, how many dollars would 16 pairs of socks cost? So here's what I want you to think about for a minute. Don't yell out an answer, just think. Where is the 16 going to go? Is it going to go up top in the numerator, or is it going to go down in the denominator? How would I know? There's a clue. 16 pairs of socks. Socks stay with socks. Socks are up top. My money is in the denominator. That's what I'm looking for. So that's how you can tell the difference. Once you get that set, nothing different going on. We're going to cross multiply. Again, especially with applications, don't freak out if you don't get a whole number answer. The opposite of multiply, where you can see, Hardy, the opposite of multiply is to divide. And again, we're talking about money here. So 38.4 normally would be an okay answer, but we're talking about money. We don't go around and say, I have $38.4. No. I got $38.40. And that would be my answer. So we want to make sure we got labels as we go as well with these. One more. An HH9, oh, this is back from the past. Survey showed 3 out of 5 boys would play video games. Okay. It's 3 over 5. But you're like, okay, but we're talking about boys. So, like, how would you do a label thing? So this would be the ones that play video games out of 5, which would be the total. So when I go to make my second fraction, if there are 550 boys in HH9, how many play video games? 550 would be my total. How many play video games? We line up the X with our video game spot. And we do the same thing that we've been doing on all the rest of these. So we notice a lot of the time with these, that last step is going to be divide. It may not every time, but a lot of the time it's going to be. So it looks like about 330 of them would play video games. So, again, if this maybe wasn't you during the first unit, here's a good chance, second unit, to learn some things and kind of roll with it. Keep this out. And what you're going to do then is we're going to get into the practice packet. And so for today, again, label with a date so you're always going to know what examples go with what problems if you need some help at some point. Or if you need to go back and watch the video, you know what date to look at. And so what you're going to do is you're going to use these examples and you're going to try to do some of these that same way. And if it's going great, fantastic. If it's not, I've got an answer key up front. You can check there. I do have the answers uploaded. I'm going to double check. If I don't, I have them on my computer. Yeah, the front and back of this. Yep. Yep. And so you can check answers as you go because I want to make sure you're doing it right, or, you know, if there's one you're stuck on, I can help as well. So